At this unexpected juncture, I never imagined the serene existence I held dear with Thaddeus would be so profoundly disrupted. Our home, once a haven of warmth and joy, now resembled a theater where a tale was playing out, one in which I had unknowingly taken center stage. The aroma of aged pages, the soft murmurs of Orion's slumber, all felt like they were sharing tales I longed to protect from the light. But last night the curtain was drawn back and I found myself exposed to the glaring illumination of reality. As I turned my back on our home, the heaviness of my choice pressed upon me, each footfall resonating with the thought of what might unfold when Thaddeus uncovered the true extent of my solitude. The measures I had taken to seek understanding, the revelation lingered on the horizon, much like the initial whispers of a brewing tempest. In Willow Creek, where the hills undulate softly and the trees share their secrets with the breeze, there stood a house that appeared to pulse with vitality. In a quaint abode adorned with the gentle shades of dusk resided Juniper and Thaddeus. It takes me back to that moment when I first laid eyes on Juniper. Her chestnut hair flowed down her back like a waterfall, and her eyes, they contained tales within tales, like ancient scrolls tucked away in the depths of a library. She was the librarian, the guardian of narratives, her soft presence a striking counterpoint to the burdens she bore inside Thaddeus. In contrast, embodied a blend of resilience and warmth. His sturdy frame and gentle grin reflecting the dedication he poured into his role at the local factory. He was the mastermind, the creator, the one who brought ideas to life. In their shared moments, they embodied the essence of a harmonious life together. In that cherished abode, the air was rich with the aroma of aged literature, mingling with the joyful echoes of laughter and the spirited barks of their loyal German shepherd, Orion. Orion was more than a mere pet. He was Juniper's constant companion, her quiet protector. His eyes, reminiscent of profound depths, observed her every action with keen interest. His gaze held a depth that seemed to pierce through her carefully crafted facade, revealing the hidden sorrow she had tucked away. Juniper was a mystery, a tale woven into the gentle threads of her cardigans. She rarely shared details of her past, only briefly alluding to the heartbreaking incident that claimed her parents when she was just a child. It was a loss that had shaped her, creating voids within her, that she filled with tales, with quiet moments, with the affection she shared with Thaddeus. Their life together unfolded like a beautifully woven tapestry, each thread carefully placed to create a vivid picture. Yet, within the most beautiful of tunes, there exist instances of tension, sounds that collide and disrupt the flow. One evening, as the sun sank beneath the horizon, casting the sky in hues of flame and gold, I found myself in their living room. In the midst of his labor, Thaddeus found himself surrounded by the soft whispers of machines, a gentle reminder of the bustling life beyond our serene existence. Juniper nestled comfortably in her cherished chair, a book resting on her lap. Her gaze wandering through the enchanting words on the pages. Orion sprawled at her feet, his head nestled on her slippers, his eyes fixed intently on her face. In the gentle embrace of the lamp's warm light, the room transformed as shadows wove and twirled, animated by the playful flicker of the fire. In that tranquil instant, I became aware of something remarkable. A subtle quiver in Juniper's hand as she flipped the page, a momentary glimpse of fear that swept across her face like a fleeting shadow. Orion, with his keen instincts, raised his head, his ears alert, his body poised with anticipation. He felt it as well, the subtle hint of something left unsaid, something that loomed over them, ready to disrupt the delicate weave of their existence. As the night deepened, the house appeared to pause in anticipation. The familiar creaks of the wood and the soft snores of Orion faded into an atmosphere thick with anticipation. Juniper, typically so poised, appeared to be engaged in a silent battle, her gaze flitting between the door and her book as if the pages held a sanctuary from the turmoil around her. Suddenly, a knock echoed through the silence, breaking the stillness of the moment. It wasn't the familiar warm knock of a neighbor. Instead, it was a jarring, urgent thud that reverberated through the home like a thunderclap. As Juniper's book tumbled to the ground, a wave of pallor washed over her face, Orion stood tall, his fur bristling, emitting a deep growl as his gaze locked onto the door. In that instant, the world around us held its breath as if anticipating the unfolding of a tale yet to be told. Juniper stood there, her movements stiff and robotic, her eyes filled with an unfamiliar terror that sent chills down my spine. As she neared the door, her hand lingered on the knob, her breath coming in quick, shallow gasps. The hidden truth she kept close, the one that had quietly lingered beneath the facade of their perfect existence, was on the verge of emerging. As she swung the door wide, the night breeze swept in, bringing with it a fragrance of transformation of truths that would shake the very foundations of their understanding and convictions. Yet what lay beyond that door, what Juniper was about to encounter in the shadowy unknown, was something neither she nor I could have ever foreseen. On a Wednesday morning, like any other, Thaddeus set off for work, his kiss resting softly on my forehead, a sweet promise of chocolate from the factory's gift shop wafting around us. As I stood there, I could see him fade into the distance, the glow of his taillights swallowed by the soft embrace of the morning fog. In solitude, I faced the embrace of our dwelling, the stillness enveloping me like a thick shroud. As I stepped into the kitchen, the comforting ritual of brewing tea unfolded, wrapping me in its warm embrace. In the stillness, the kettle sang a solitary tune, while I gently cascaded the hot water over the tea leaves. Cradling the warm mug, I strolled into the library, my fingers gliding over the spines of the books, each one a companion, a trusted ally in this quiet realm. Today, however, the books appeared to share a different kind of secret. Their narratives, often so soothing, seemed far away, as if they were coming from another world. I nestled into my cherished chair, the one by the window where the light danced perfectly, for immersing myself in a tale. Orion, picking up on my discomfort, gently approached and rested his head on my lap. His eyes, those deep pools of understanding, gazed up at me, reflecting a worry that echoed my own inner chaos. I caressed his fur, my fingers lingering, each gentle movement weaving an unspoken bond between us. My thoughts, however, wandered far from the here and now. It drifted much like a leaf dancing on the breeze to realms I hesitated to venture into. Under the sun's gaze, long-buried memories began to rise, echoes of a life that existed prior to Willow Creek, prior to Thaddeus, prior to the comfort of this home. The air thickened with unspoken words. The library's walls loomed closer, and the books, once my refuge, now stood as quiet observers to the turmoil within me. The burden of my history loomed large, the hidden truths I had safeguarded, pushing against the delicate barrier of my calm. Orion's ears twitched, his body coiled with anticipation, as if he could feel the change in the air around him. His gaze was locked onto mine, his eyes probing with unspoken inquiries I wasn't prepared to confront. As I inhaled deeply, the aroma of aged paper and leather enveloped me, anchoring me in that fleeting moment. But then a shift occurred deep inside me. The cold tea was forgotten as I rose suddenly, the chair protesting against the wooden floor with a sharp scrape. Orion leaped back, his tail tucked in, gazing at me with a blend of bewilderment and worry. The weight of these thoughts and the heavy silence made it impossible for me to remain here any longer. I felt an urgent need to take action, to embark on a journey. Anything to shatter the grip of this profound solitude. With hurried steps, I navigated the house, my heart pounding as I faced a choice that loomed large, both unavoidable and daunting. With my coat draped over my arm and keys in hand, I cast a fleeting look at Orion, who was patiently waiting by the door, and I decided on my next move. I promised him softly, a vow meant more for my own comfort than his. The door swung open with a soft creak, letting in the cool morning air that brushed against my flushed cheeks. I found myself on a journey uncertain of the destination, yet compelled to move forward. The town of Willow Creek stirred to life, yet I moved as if in a dream, each step pulling me deeper away from the familiar comforts of my everyday existence. The journey unfolded before me, a vivid tapestry of experiences waiting to be woven, one that would transform my life forever. The path ahead was shrouded in mystery, much like the hidden tales I held within me. Yet it was evident that the serene existence I had crafted alongside Thaddeus, the refuge of our abode, was on the brink of profound transformation. As I strolled away from the house, the gravity of my choice enveloped me. reminiscent of the initial raindrops heralding a brewing tempest. As the night deepened, the house seemed to hold its breath. The usual sounds of settling wood and the gentle snoring of Orion were replaced by an electric atmosphere thick with anticipation. Thaddeus had long since retreated to the realm of dreams, his rhythmic breathing a soft whisper from the upstairs sanctuary. In the solitude of the living room, I was enveloped by the soft glow of dim light where shadows swayed gracefully, mirroring the gentle flicker of the fire. Orion, ever watchful, drew nearer his presence, a blend of solace and an awakening of emotions buried deep inside. In the stillness of the room, the only sound was the gentle ticking of the grandfather clock, each tick resonating like a heartbeat in the hush. Orion's eyes, those deep pools of understanding, observed me closely, as if he could pierce the facade I maintained and glimpse the sorrow I had hidden within his head lay gently on my lap, radiating warmth that cut through the chill of the solitude surrounding me. In that moment, as the world outside slumbered and the house enveloped itself in a serene hush, a deep desire surged within me to reach out to experience something genuine, something I could truly grasp. As my fingers quivered gently, they glided over Orion's fur, each touch weaving an unspoken narrative between us. My hand rested on his back, grateful for the quiet strength he radiated. I leaned in closer, my breath hitching as I softly uttered his name, the whisper almost lost amidst the rhythmic ticking of the clock. Orion reacted without hesitation, his form leaning in closer, his gaze fixed on mine with a fervor that reflected my own. It felt like he had a deep awareness, as though he could feel the tempest rising inside me. My actions fueled by a tangled web of affection, loneliness, and a shadowy intrigue regarding my own desires started to intertwine the boundaries of companionship. I lowered my defenses, giving myself permission to wander into this uncharted realm. Orion, steadfast as always, appeared to embrace this shift in our relationship, his tail swaying gently, his breath a comforting warmth against my skin. The encounter, which began with a sense of innocence, gradually unfolded into a deeper connection. My hand rested on his back, grateful for the quiet strength he radiated. In the depths of my being, I felt a whisper of doubt, a recognition that I was treading on ground I had always avoided. Yet there was another voice within me, more instinctual and raw, that beckoned me toward this enticing, uncharted rhythm. My heart raced within me, each thump a prelude to the unfolding drama of my choices. The warmth enveloped me, the space around shrinking, the outside world slipping into oblivion, leaving only me and Orion entwined in this intimate moment of discovery and openness. As my fingers glided along his back, each caress ignited a spark, sending delightful shivers coursing through us both. Yet a noise from above broke the enchantment. As the floorboard let out a gentle creak, a soft murmur escaped Thaddeus, who was lost in the realm of dreams. In that moment, time seemed to freeze, and I felt a rush of emotion surge within me. Orion's ears pricked his body, coiling with anticipation as he sensed the commotion nearby. A chilling wave of dread washed over me, extinguishing the fiery intensity of the moment. In an instant, I pulled my hands back, my thoughts swirling with the weight of what had just unfolded. What if Thaddeus had witnessed what might be on his mind? The thoughts danced in my mind, each one more daunting than the previous. I stood there, my movements uneasy, my gaze flickering to the staircase, anticipating Thaddeus's arrival. His expression possibly one of bewilderment, or even more unsettling treachery. Orion, picking up on my unease, returned to his familiar place by the fireplace, his gaze fixed on me, now filled with a sense of worry instead of mere interest. The stillness settled in thick and suffocating. I settled back into my seat, my hands resting neatly in my lap, while my thoughts swirled with a storm of guilt and uncertainty. What had I created? What emotions had I permitted myself to experience? The atmosphere in the room had shifted alive with the energy of recent events and the tantalizing uncertainty of what was yet to unfold. The grandfather clock's steady ticking filled the silence, each second unfolding like a chapter in a tale. As I sat in anticipation, my heart racing, wondering if Thaddeus would drift back into slumber or make his way down the stairs. The night, once a refuge, now seemed like a snare ensnaring me as I lingered there solitary with Orion. the whispers of my deeds resonating in the stillness. Rest eluded me. The heaviness of the day lingered, and the stillness of the home enveloped me, creating an almost tangible pressure. I wriggled and shifted the fabric wrapping around my limbs until I finally chose to rise. Perhaps Juniper was still awake, immersed in one of her novels, wandering through a realm where challenges were merely figments of imagination, easily resolved with the turn of a page. As I quietly emerged from the warmth of my bed, the chill of the wooden floor greeted my bare feet. In the stillness of the house, a gentle hum from the refrigerator in the kitchen filled the air, creating an atmosphere ripe for tales waiting to be told. I descended the stairs, anticipating the sight of Juniper in the living room, her figure softly lit by the lamp, a book cradled in her hands. Yet the room lay silent, the chair by the window unoccupied, the fire in the hearth merely a bed of glowing embers. A soft murmur reminiscent of a gentle breeze beckoned me to the kitchen. My heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of intrigue and worry. I moved in softly, the floorboards beneath me, groaning as if they were revealing my presence. There she was, Juniper, her back turned to me, poised near the counter, a scene waiting to unfold. Initially, I imagined she could be brewing a cup of tea or maybe preparing a late-night treat. Yet as I observed, her actions did not resemble those of a person engaged in the art of cooking. They moved with a careful grace, each moment filled with a deep connection. My breath hitched in my throat as the reality of the situation dawned on me. Orion, the steadfast friend, stood by her side. With a soft wag of his tail, he nestled closer, seeking comfort in her warmth. Juniper's hands glided with an unsettling gentleness, her fingers weaving intricate designs through his fur, her touch lingering in a way that stirred a tumult within me. I stood still, my thoughts swirling as I tried to grasp the unfolding drama around me. This was more than mere fondness. It was a profound connection that transcended boundaries. I had never imagined Juniper's face radiated softness, her eyes gently shut, embodying a serene connection that had been absent for quite some time. Orion reacted to her touch, his gaze fixed on hers with a depth of comprehension that felt strikingly relatable. The connection they shared, once so pure, now appeared to venture into uncharted realms. My heart raced within me, each thump a prelude to a tale woven with confusion and dread. I longed to share my thoughts, to break the silence, to seek clarity, yet my words vanished into the heavy atmosphere of the kitchen. The atmosphere was enchanting, reminiscent of a narrative woven by Juniper, where the boundaries of the real and the imagined intertwined seamlessly. Juniper leaned in close to Orion, whispering softly as if confiding in an old friend, but the intensity behind them sent a shiver down my spine. Orion's ears perked up as he nuzzled closer to her, their movements intertwining in a captivating and unsettling rhythm. A chilling wave of understanding swept through me. This was more than a mere instance of solitude or a brief misstep in decision-making. This was something Juniper yearned for, perhaps craved in ways I had yet to comprehend or witness. The revelations unfolding before me were monumental, rattling the core of our bond. My thoughts swirled with inquiries. For how long had this tale been unfolding? What significance did it hold for us? For her, indeed, is it for Orion? Our dog was more than just a pet. She was a confidant, a companion in the hidden adventures she embarked on while I believed she was simply lost in thought or engrossed in a book. The kitchen, once a haven of comfort and togetherness, now resembled a theater where the veil had been lifted to expose an unseen performance. Juniper, lost in her own world, engaged with Orion, her gestures graceful and reminiscent of an ancient dance. My body was frozen, my voice trapped within. I found myself observing this close yet twisted bond. My heart raced, my mind swirling with a tempest of feelings: betrayal, confusion, an unusual intrigue, and a lurking dread of what this could signify for us. And then the choice stood before me, as daunting as the precipice of a great chasm. Should I step forward, shatter the stillness with my words, and seek the truth? Or would I withdraw, slipping back into the dim corners of our union, bearing this secret like a heavy stone within my heart? The grandfather clock in the living room started to chime, each toll echoing the hour, a poignant reminder of time's relentless march of choices embraced and those left behind. The sound resonated with my inner conflict, each chime posing a question, daring my determination. What should I consider doing? What options do I have? The evening lingered in silence, anticipating the decision I was about to make. As I stood there observing Juniper and Orion, I could sense the shift in their connection, a transformation that felt woven into the very essence of our existence. The following morning, the atmosphere in the house is heavy with untold tales. As dawn broke, I found myself burdened by the revelations of the previous night, their impact settling on me like an unshakable shadow. The vision of Juniper and Orion lingered in my mind, her hands dancing with a closeness that felt profound, while he reacted with a comprehension that was strikingly almost human. It was as if a deep wound had been inflicted, shattering not only the bond of our union, but also the faith we had nurtured through the passage of time. In the garden, I stumbled upon Juniper, her hands immersed in the earth, nurturing new blooms into existence. The morning sun enveloped her in a gentle light, giving her an almost otherworldly appearance. Yet the tranquility of the moment sharply contrasted with the turmoil stirring within me. I moved closer to her, each step weighted with uncertainty, my thoughts swirling with inquiries and judgments. Juniper. I called out, my voice steady, yet laced with a hint of disappointment. She glanced up, her gaze locking onto mine, and for a fleeting instant I recognized the woman I had once adored. Yet now there was an intriguing shift, a concealed depth lurking just below the exterior. Thaddeus, she replied, her voice wavering just a bit as she rose, shaking the dirt from her hands. What seems to be the issue? As I inhaled deeply, the fragrance of the earth and blossoms enveloped me, yet it did little to soothe the storm brewing inside. Last night I began, my words carefully chosen. I saw you with Orion. What just happened? Her complexion drained of color, and her eyes brimmed with tears as the meaning of my words sank in. Thaddeus, I can explain, she stammered, her composure unraveling beneath the intensity of my stare. Can you share more about that, Juniper? My voice soared, the serene mask beginning to fade away. What's the duration of this situation? What compels you to pursue that kind of connection with him? She averted her gaze, her hands quivering as she intertwined them tightly. It's not what you believe, she murmured. Yet the words echoed emptily, even to her own ears. So what is it exactly? I insisted, moving nearer the gap between us, seeming like an abyss, for from my vantage point it appeared you were treading paths that ought to remain untouched. With tears streaming down her face, she drew in a shaky breath before finding her voice. Thaddeus, I find myself in a deep solitude, not merely in the absence of company, but in the quiet echoes of my heart. Within me lies a deep emptiness, a trepidation towards closeness. With others shaped by my experiences, Orion, he has been my steadfast support, my quiet companion in the shadows. It's not about any tangible aspect in the way you might imagine. It's about experiencing a bond, a sense of being comprehended. A surge of emotions washed over me, a blend of frustration and uncertainty ignited by her words. So you seek comfort from our dog Juniper. That's quite unusual. That's not the way connections unfold. I know, she wept, her voice trembling. I understand that it might seem unusual, but my history, the experiences I've gone through, have left me hesitant about forming bonds with others. Orion, he simply observes, he quietly accepts. In his company, the weight of solitude seems to lift, and I find comfort in the shared silence. The revelation washed over me like a tide. Her loneliness ran deep, and the fear she held within was exposed for all to see. Yet the betrayal cut deep. The vision of her alongside Orion, their connection now forever altered in my perception, was etched into my memory. What are your expectations of me now, Juniper? I inquired, my tone gentle as the fury melted into a deep sorrow. What steps can we take to progress from here? Her gaze met mine, filled with a silent request for empathy, for absolution. I'm not quite sure, Thaddeus. I just want you to grasp, to really see the reasons behind my feeling so adrift. I stood there, the garden around us, quietly observing the unraveling of our reality. The flowers she was planting, representing fresh starts, felt like a harsh twist of fate in this moment. The question lingered in the air, thick with uncertainty and unspoken words. How should I respond to this newfound insight? What path can we take to rise from this challenge? The quiet lingered, punctuated solely by the far-off song of birds and the soft whisper of leaves dancing in the morning wind. I looked away, burdened by my heart, as my thoughts swirled in a tempest of mixed feelings. The journey ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. The bond fractured, yet the profound, enduring affection I held for Juniper remained hidden beneath the layers of disbelief and pain. As I strolled back to the house, the gravity of my choices enveloped me like the initial whispers of an approaching tempest. In a world filled with possibilities, we found ourselves at a pivotal moment in our journey together, where each choice loomed large, ready to shape our destiny. After days of quiet reflection, the atmosphere in our home was thick with unspoken words. The atmosphere was charged with untold tales, and the burden of our recent discoveries loomed above us like an impending tempest. It was clear that we couldn't continue down this path, trapped in a haze of pain and uncertainty. So I found myself in a moment with Juniper, the woman I cherished, the one who had completely transformed our lives with her choices. Juniper, I began, my voice unwavering, yet tinged with a blend of sorrow and optimism. It's time for a conversation. She glanced up from her book, her gaze locking onto mine, a blend of trepidation and solace reflected in her eyes. Thaddeus, why, I know, she murmured, gently, placing the book down. We gathered in the living room, the very space where I had first glimpsed her in a different way, where the lines of our connection had begun to fade. Orion, feeling the weight of the occasion, settled at her feet, his head gently resting on her slippers, his eyes moving back and forth between us. I love you, Juniper, I said, my voice thick with feeling, yet what I witnessed, what I experienced, has left me profoundly unsettled. In a whirlwind of emotions, I find myself lost and in pain, yet I am open to the journey of healing. In that moment, emotions surged within her, and she extended her hand, trembling as she grasped mine. Thaddeus, I truly apologize. My intentions were never to cause you pain. In the depths of my thoughts, I've wandered aimlessly, feeling isolated and adrift. I'm with you on that. We could use some assistance. I seek assistance. Her admission struck my wounded heart like an unexpected explosion. We'll seek out a therapist, a person who can help us navigate this journey, I promised her, holding her hand softly. However, it's important for us to establish limits, particularly when it comes to Orion. Juniper nodded, her tears streaming down her cheeks, each drop a silent tale of her heart's burden. I see what you mean. I'll focus on transforming my feelings into something more positive. I've begun to weave narratives sharing my experiences and emotions. Perhaps it could inspire others as well. The thought of her recounting her experiences, transforming her struggles into something meaningful, sparked a glimmer of hope within me. That's wonderful, Juniper. It's the beginning of something new. Orion remains a cherished member of our family, yet it's time to reshape his place among us and how we engage with him. She gazed at Orion, who appeared to feel the change in the air. He has been my solace, my quiet companion in the shadows. Indeed, it's essential for us to transform our approach to our connection with him. The dialogue unfolded as the hours passed, rich with heartfelt apologies, solemn promises, and the unfiltered truth that had been absent for far too long. We decided to embark on this journey of therapy, not solely for Juniper, but for our relationship as a whole. The journey ahead was shrouded in mystery, yet for the first time since that fateful evening, a flicker of hope emerged, a whisper of renewal. In the weeks that followed, Juniper immersed herself in her writing, channeling her emotions into pages that revealed her challenges, her unique aspirations, and the shadows she had encountered. Her words served as a connection not only for her own recovery, but also for those who might discover comfort in her narrative. Our journey led us to embrace therapy sessions as a part of our everyday lives. We discovered how to connect more deeply to uncover the reasons behind Juniper's behavior and to confront the pain she had held onto for years. It was a challenging journey filled with moments of discomfort, yet with every session we uncovered the hidden layers of pain, exposing the enduring love that lay beneath. Orion continued to weave through our lives, yet the fabric of our interactions shifted. Juniper discovered how to convey her feelings in manners that honored the limits we had established. He remained by her side. Yet the closeness had transformed, blossoming into something more wholesome. His presence echoed the tales of our journey, filled with the intricacies of love and connection. As we journeyed through this new chapter, I frequently caught myself observing Juniper, perceiving her in a fresh perspective. She had transformed into something beyond the woman I once adored. She was a warrior on a journey to rediscover her essence, her true self. Her strength was a captivating tale of determination and grace. Yet even with the strides we had made, a question remained hovering like a whisper at the periphery of our hard-won tranquility. Would our union withstand this tempest, or would it be irrevocably changed by the echoes of Juniper's history? The future loomed ahead, shrouded in mystery, and our bond hung in the balance. All I understood was that the next move we made would shape our entire journey. If you found this tale captivating, be sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts. This will assist us in crafting more captivating narratives for you.